Patrick, I've been thinking a lot about what has to happen this season as they start to get going on the 2025 Chiefs. It's got to have a couple of key contributions from young players. Who are they and what's going on tonight on RGR Football? I feel so bad for Patrick in that picture. I keep coming back to it because you know what? It just looks damn lonely. Oh, well, we are not lonely. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Ryan. This is RGR Football. This is Dan Harms, the guy that's really in charge of this joint. I'm just here to talk a lot, so it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. Summertime, we're answering your questions. We're going to slow the pace down. If you want on the show tonight, hit that super chat. Make sure you get in there. Ask some questions with question marks ahead of it. And we're going to start with, I think, a special lead-in for what's coming on later. If you don't know us yet, I've been covering this team going on 19 years. In one way, for those of you who read my writing in the beginning, thank you, and I'm sorry. For those of you who've been listening to my podcast for the last 13 years, one way or the other, I very much appreciate you. If you've been on RGR since we started in 2018, you are the people that I'm looking for. Dan's been not quite as long, but nearly as long, and he's been knocking it out of the park. How you feeling, Dan?
Honestly, when you go back to I believe it was 2019, 2020 when I started, I didn't realize it was right after the channel had actually begun. So that's a cool thing to think about, that while, I knew you from Locked On and how long you've been doing that, just getting in on the ground floor of this and seeing it to what we've built it to, in large parts to the viewers and the fans. You guys, thank you very much once again for being here. I'm feeling good. It's nice to know that we always get to come back on Monday. This is always a nice feeling to come back and we get to answer your guys' questions, because the meat of the Q&A stuff and the answering the questions is getting to just interact with our fan base. And that's always one of the best parts about this job. So thank you guys for being here, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions.
Yeah, I am as well. Little bit of business up front. New series from me starts tomorrow. It's going to be different. It's going to feel different. It's going to look different, but it's going to have some similar things. And it's going to be stuff that you need to know. I'm trying to give you smaller doses, smaller things that I can just bang out and give you exactly what I'm thinking at the time. This may change as we go through OTAs and camp and the whole 9 yards. So don't miss it. It's another version of the breakdown. It's going to be quicker ones, but make sure that you tune in because it won't take you as long. And I know everybody's busy for the summer, so I wanted to give you something, nice and easy, bite size. We're going to call that. So check that out tomorrow. I put Jalen Rolls on the cover here because I think if there's an X factor, having the wide receiver group together is definitely it. But having another person that brings something new to the mix, I think has the level up possibility. And as we've been running down the schedule over on Locked On all week, there's more and more teams that stand out to have the weapons that might be able to put up some points, that maybe more so than we saw last year. So it's really, for me, got to be, how are you upping the offense for this team? How do you see it? And what's going on with Jalen Royals?
Yeah, so you guys, if you haven't seen, there is a tweet going around about every single Patrick Mahomes 20-plus yard throw. Somebody compiled it together without any context, of course, because that's all Twitter is. So everyone that's freaking out about the 20-plus yard downfield stuff and the frustrations that we all saw, while some of it's going to be on Patrick, sure, it absolutely isn't all on him. So we are going to dive into that some point before training camp. I promise you guys we'll get to that. But as to the weapons that surround Patrick Mahomes, Wednesday will be the one maybe most anticipated of the film reviews that I have done of the draft picks in Jalen Royals. This is somebody I've talked up for a long time. You guys have been very interested, at least to hear what I have to say on the guy that was a top 50 player for me and a wide receiver that I would have drafted over just about anybody in this class. And what we talk about with Andy Reid specifically in the wide receivers, it feels like this is not a like some people want to do and build a basketball team out of your wide receiver room. That's not what the Chiefs want to do. They want to build I don't even know how to go about saying it. It's not like a basketball team, but it's more like a soccer team. Guys that can just do everything. If you guys have watched Ted Lasso, when Ted finally gets to figuring out total football, right? He wants everyone to be able to do to be able to go and just change out for this guy and do what they want to do. Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Jalen Royals, Hollywood Brown, all can give you a lot of the same things in terms of they can run down the field, they can stop in the middle, they can give you yards after catch. All of them can do that. It's interchangeable offense. So it feels like this might be the time where the Chiefs play loose, and it felt like they were so uptight last year. So uptight trying to get that three-peat. Now we have to see the chains, the wheels come off and just let them be what they are. And those four guys that we talked about, we'll get into a deeper dive on Jalen Royals on Wednesday, but those four guys set the pace now, because as much as Travis Kelce is going to be involved, it has to be the wide receivers now that take that mantle from Travis.
Yeah, I agree with you. If 2024 was prom night, and I know a lot of your kids are doing that, or maybe some of you that are actually watching are prom type age peoples, 2025 has to be dazed and confused the day after graduation, right? That's what we need at this point. Just everything has to chill out. Like, we don't need the cardiac kids anymore. And I do want to give a shout out to Cole, who's been here nearly since the beginning as well, right around the same time. Both of our mods, he and Gary, as well as FLTB, have been core members from the very beginning. And I appreciate you guys putting up with me this long. And obviously it makes it easier when you can have some Dan to go with my BS. So I appreciate you, along with Brenda and a lot of the all-timers that are in here. It's great to see you guys, and I very much appreciate you. And everybody give our mods a hand, because they're all over the place. And I can't do it all anymore. I can't monitor the chat and still have an opinion. Evidently, I've grown too weary to do that. So, Jayhawk, nice to see you. And a track team is a good way to put what we're talking about. And thank you for being a member as well. Members, you have a new announcement. I have new gear. It is available. So I have a special announcement for the members. It's in there right now in the community tab here on the channel. It'll give you the link to go out to the store. You can go to the store and look yourself if you want to go check it out. I'll have more for you next week as we start something new. So make sure you give it up. But this is still there if you like these, because I'm going to be sporting these all summer. In fact, I'm giving them out as presents, to tell you the truth. So
there you go.
Now I'm excited to see your Royals breakdown, and I appreciate it, because it's too much of all these people that want back shoulder throws and contested catch throws and all the things that Andy won't ever do. It's nice to want shiny things, and sometimes I want it too. But Andy is the dad who just won't give you the bike for Christmas, okay? He's just not going to do it. You got to earn that one, and you earn it by getting open. He likes separation, and ain't nothing going to change Andy Reid on that. So with that said, let's start at the top. The first one is the first one red, and that's Steve Harold tonight. How are you, Steve? What are the similarities and differences between the wide receivers, Elijah Badger and McCole Hardman? You've watched more film on Badger, but I feel it's a little bit more mature in terms of how he moves about the field. Not necessarily the breaks, but certainly the releases from where McCole was when he came out. But how do you feel about him?
So we know McCole Hardman was a pure just speedster. Like he was a return man. He didn't have any nuance to his game, and he was also small. Badger is 6'1", 200 pounds. So the differences start right there. He can be more physical and, again, be, I guess, more of a complete wide receiver if he makes the roster. When you have over 32-inch arms, over 9-inch hands, you have the ability to catch the ball away from your frame, something that McCole Hardman could never do. He had to catch it in a basket. He didn't have the ability to just go, and catch the ball away from his body. So differences being he's more athletic. He has more route upside. But again, we're talking about upside. There's a reason he was a UDFA. McCole Hardman was drafted in the second round. Yes, overdrafted he was, but he was drafted on day 2 because of the speed factor with expected upside. That's what you're hoping for. And Badger is not a burner. He's fast. He's basically Sammy Watkins in the sense that, 6'1", 200 pounds. Rashee Rice, 6'1", 205 pounds. That's the type of mold you're looking at. If anything, we're talking about a player that could mimic what Rashee Rice is right now, and not anything of what McCole Hardman brings you. That they're two very different players.
Yeah, I want to say he was in the teens on the Matrix for this class.
Yeah.
So it tells you he's a good athlete, but he's not elite in any one aspect. So good way to round it out. I like where you're going, Kurt, and we should probably come back to that later in the show. But do want to say, if If you would listen to Gary, hit that like button. That always helps us. We appreciate that. And Sean, nice to see you too, pal. Hope you're doing good. It's always a good night when we're here in the kingdom on RGR, making things happen and doing things that we enjoy. So on to the next chest master. And remind me not to play a game with you. Can you explain rookie contracts? I know higher draft picks get more. So is the negotiation only over guaranteed money? Why do some rookies hold out? Love the show and everything you guys do. Well, thanks, Chess Master. Go ahead, Dan. What's your big element?
I know nothing about rookie contracts in terms of what the negotiation tactics is, outside of the fact that we're seeing far more and more it being fully guaranteed. Like that's what it's coming down to. There was the whole, remember the whole Sam Bradford thing where he got like a buku amount of money, and the NFL teams are like, you know what? It's time to put a damper on this nonsense, and we're gonna change things up a little bit. And so now instead of seeing relatively, I guess, fixed contracts that you have the signing bonus, you have the incentives. Now they're just fully guaranteed with different players, depending on where you are drafted, getting higher, first through 5 through 10 overall, get more money based specifically on tier of the player you are being drafted. But that's pretty much all that I know about how rookie contracts are.
It's tighter at the top where they're regimented and they're slotted. Where, if you hear about a first round player that hasn't signed yet, it's mostly about offset money, which is only in case of emergency if you don't make this roster and you're going elsewhere, right? What that offset comes back to the team that originally drafted you. As you get lower down, it becomes more about the cash value and the guarantee, right? Mm-hmm. But as Dan said, a lot of it, especially in the top 100s, it's almost all at the top at this point. So it makes things, I think, kind of petty to hold out at all. If you're a rookie, I mean, you could see somebody having a fit if you ended up getting drafted somewhere. Like, no offense, sure, I think he was punished too much. I don't think he should have fallen to the 5th. I had him as a second round player, but he could have made it even worse and just said, "I'm not going to play for you, Browns." Period. So there is an element of that too.
Yeah, we don't know all the stuff behind the stories in terms of holdouts. I know that last year Marvin Harrison Jr. had the whole situation with Fanatics. That's a whole different story. But typically, rookies are looking around, seeing some of the other contracts, saying, "I was drafted higher. I deserve to be paid more money than them." That's just how it is. And do I agree with it all the time? No, but I'm going to be one of the first to tell you that these players deserve every cent. Most of them deserve every cent that they're going to get, especially because contracts in the NFL, careers in the NFL, average 3 to 4 years. Get what you can now because it doesn't last forever.
What's 0.6 of a season? What does that do? 9 games. So 3 years and 9 games is the average in this league. So 1 contract. That's it. Yeah. Most players get what you can. That's what I do. Swag Boy, I've been watching since the show since Casey lost to Cincy in 21. I like it, Swag. Nice. Do you think I think you should do live streams during the game so we can watch them with you both. That would be fun. And we have considered that. I know it works great for Cole. Honestly, Cole and we and KCSN, we all try to kind of fit into a puzzle so we're not overlapping each other as much. And I don't want to take away from Cole. And quite frankly, for us to watch and have the detailed breakdown and all the little insights that we have, it's because we're pretty damn focused on the game. So quite frankly, I worry. The reason that we haven't is because I'm concerned about not having as much information to give you guys because we're wrapped up in doing it live. We cover the draft that way. And I don't know, Dan, do you think we do as good a job doing it live while we're watching the draft as we could during a ball game?
They're 2 different things. You can't even compare them because we are studied up to the draft all the way through. We can talk about the draft and break down players. It's a little bit different when you're in it and you want to collectively react to certain moments, right? At the end of the game, you can say, okay, well, we saw this first half. How did they adjust, right? If we're talking about it, we're kind of guessing, I personally like to be prepared in that sense. And again, if I'm watching the game, I'm with my family and I'm taking notes. It's no offense to you guys, but I can't do 3 things at once. I can do 2 pretty well. and sometimes I can't. Like sometimes I lose my temper or I get impatient, and that's just because I'm trying to make sure I have collective notes and not have to worry about screams in the background, like it's I would love to do them, but it's not really feasible for me specifically.
I'm glad you mentioned it because that was a nice way to put it. Because when I'm watching games, I'm cussing and throwing things half the time. So
also, I think we'll go back to the well with the playoff games that are non-Chiefs. I think those work very well, and I have no problems doing those either. So that will be on the table going forward for us for the channel as well.
Okay. So Swag Boy, we'll meet you halfway. I also have some things cooking here local. Everyone's been after me for years to get-togethers going in Denver. Well, I have some friends that are doing something kind of cool, and if I can work it out, we might have a spot to go to where maybe the post-game show could be live from a venue of stuff such. So
there could be a trip to Colorado in the works next season.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes, or several. So we could have some cool stuff. I won't say no, we won't do in-game streams of the Chiefs, but it's probably going to be pretty rare. Maybe we'll do it every now and then, but again, we are part of the Chiefs community. We don't want to step on everybody else.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're giving you what we do best, and that is detailed football information that we have to observe. And honestly, when I'm watching a game, that 5-second back button on my remote control gets wore out because I'm watching things while they're yakking at you. I'm watching the previous play 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I'm watching with my family. I try not to ruin that experience for my wife and my daughter. Like we watch it straight through, but I will say I shit talk like the Tony Romo and these guys that like, what are you even talking about? You don't know anything. Like I do that all game long. My wife can attest to that.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife's with Swag. Because most of the time I will say something before the announcers do.
I do
and
the
she
same
just
thing,
gets,
yeah.
why aren't you making more money doing this? That's what she says. You should be calling games.
That's actually how I started doing this. We would go watch football with my buddies and my wife, and they're like, why are you what? Like I just say what they're gonna say before they say it. And I've been doing that since like 2011. Like, what are we doing here? Why aren't you doing this? And yeah, that's how this works.
God, we need to become a broadcast team. In which case, you guys will get everything that Swag just asked for. So,
yeah, right.
Cheers, Swag. Sorry if we dwelled too long on that, but a lot of options, right? This time of year, all the options kind of come out and we start thinking about stuff. Christo, nice to see you. Another long time fan. Why are Justin Simmons, Keenan Allen, and Asante Samuel still free agents? Age, and age.
Asante
Samuel isn't even that old. Yeah. That's fair. The first two are definitely age.
Justin Simmons is waiting for the right opportunity. He doesn't want to go through training camp. He doesn't want to go through OTAs. He wants to just get on a team and know he's going to be starting, like he did with the Falcons last year. And I believe it was still the Broncos the previous year before that, where he went right back to them, but it was a while. Safety markets are compressed. Like there's just not a ton of need, and then they wait until the end of the off season stuff for them to sign. Keenan Allen's just old, like legit. He's just old, and he's probably just waiting for an injury or two in a training camp to say, "Hey, I'm available. I'm fresh. I'm ready to go." Like that's what that is. And Asante Samuel, there's a story about him. He's working back from an injury. I believe there was a surgery that he had not too long ago that wasn't on the books, and we came out and talked about it. So he's trying to come back from that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense too. I hadn't heard that. And it's funny. It's Asante Samuel Jr. When you say Asante Samuel, I'm like, oh, I was here for the first one. I'm sorry, I'm freaking old.
I know.
What do you want me to do?
I remember Asante too, like with Eagles stuff. Like I'm just like no. And then didn't he play for the Patriots for a second too? Like,
yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember some things.
Well done. Crystal also had, is this the most complete team in the Mahomes era?
I mean, I don't think so. It's tough to assume that the defense is going to be a top 10 unit every year like it has been the last 2 years. It's also tough to assume that the youth at wide receiver is just going to click and gel immediately, right? I still think that the most complete team, even though the weapons weren't The best was the 2022 team where they won the Super Bowl. The defense was great, and the offense was still explosive enough and efficient enough that they could score points, as they showed in the Super Bowl against those Eagles. So I think that's the most complete team to this point, but it has the chance to be, if the weapons on the offense and the offensive line specifically can mesh and gel in this season.
And can stay healthy.
Correct.
That's what delayed it for the wide receivers last year. Thank you, Krista. Appreciate you. I know you got another one. We're going to hit Scott first with 4 Chiefs. And thank you, Scott. Appreciate the support, buddy. With the Chiefs' 4 opponents all having good defensive fronts, are you concerned about the inexperience of the left side of the offensive line with Kingsley and Moore? And we're projecting Kingsley and Moore. That's not set in stone, but we think that's what it's going to be. And that's a fair point. And I do think it's about the schedule when you lay it out there. Especially Chargers are going to have a decent front, but it's changed. The Eagles' front is diminished from what it was last year in the Super Bowl. I want to be honest. There's some players in the Giants, but Ravens are significant, right? So it feels like it's a little bit up and down for me. And if you're talking about the Chiefs' 4 opponents I'm not sure if you mean the AFC West, but everybody's kind of loading up on D-line and running backs, right? Because they have a plan. I don't think it's going to work, but they have a plan. So it's about, can you jump into it, and how fast can those 2 guys, win their respective jobs and come together?
That's the thing, right? We have to kind of hope that this comes together quickly. And while Jalen Moore doesn't have a ton of the starting experience, neither does Kingsley. The fact of the matter is they're going to be starting a left side that's not just new, fresh, new and starts. Not one of them is going to start a full season ever in their career. That's a little scary, but that's what you're trying to put yourself in the position to be, where the youth and the talent overtakes some of the inexperience factor. That's again what you're hoping for, and then you have safeguards, right? Just you're hoping Josh Simmons is a safeguard. You're hoping that Kingsley, break glass in case of emergency, plays right tackle. Wanya Morris is a swing tackle, break glass thing. Like that's what they're putting themselves in a position to be, so they actually have options and don't just have to turn to Joe Tooney to be your left tackle for the season because you got nothing else.
Right. I mean, and honestly, you have Wanya, maybe you have something in Driscoll. Obviously, with Simmons in the back,
and Pula, yeah.
Like it feels like, okay, we're going to overcorrect at least a little bit in terms of numbers. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate the support as always, pal. Christo, here's your other one. I'm a big Hicks fan, but
Hicks fan.
Oh, Hicks. Yeah, absolutely. But Cook and Connor, I'm not too sure on. Why not side Justin Simmons? Because he's not as fast as he was. And honestly, I don't know that he's as versatile as Spags wants anymore. I don't know that he's a true take the high part of the field away as well. Like, he can man it, but I don't know that he can take it away. But I do agree with you. And you're going to see a piece from me in my new series about Brian Cook and what he has to do, because I don't think Shamari Connor's going to be playing nickel anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see where Shamari Connor plays this year, because while he's got some obvious splash plays, he's kind of a tweener, and the tweener spots for him kind of being pressed upon, and where they were like, we really don't want you in nickel anymore. And you saw it last year where they were like, get off the field, go do something else, because for all the splash plays that he was able to make against the run, he's basically a dime backer. And that role for him doesn't really work because he's still too small to be able to take on the run as an behind line of scrimmage linebacker. So he's a very niche player. So hopefully this offseason he gets more experience as like a split safety so they can use him in that regard. But the big reason they don't want to sign Josh Simmons because he doesn't want to play for the Chiefs. He doesn't want to. I think at the end of the day, I think he'd probably be in the room over Mike Edwards if he wanted to play for Kansas City, but he doesn't want to. He has a grudge for playing with the Broncos for as long as he does, and he doesn't want to play. Whatever. I don't care.
It works for me. Hey, take it to yourself. I hope, and I do think that, again, Kamari was a nickel robber type safety in college, right? Box-ish, but more of a coverage box, right? Whereas Hicks, Cooks, definitely box safeties that are being pushed into a free and space safety, a post safety takeaway kind of role that just isn't natural for them, but they had their opportunity to take some in this draft, and they chose not to. So I think they're comfortable. Whether we are, Christo, that might be a different story. Gary, thank you, buddy, and thanks for being one of our resident mods and always being here. I appreciate you, pal.
Thank you, Gary.
Why did Penn State Izzard, the UDFA, get such a big contract as a UDFA? Because a lot of people had draftable grades on him. I personally did not, but a lot of people did, and a lot of teams did, from what I heard.
And the athletic profile. Like, this is honestly, the Chiefs needed his profile of defensive tackle still. They needed that on the roster because you have Fabian Lovett, but what else do you have? Like, they don't have that kind of player. And for his size, he's a very good athlete, like a really good athlete. So that's why you do that. You want the Chiefs use, and a lot of teams are starting to do the same thing. They use the UDFA contracts to get guys they had draftable grades on and guaranteed on their rosters for training camp. Like, that's what they're doing.
That's why they actually value the 7th round picks, where I do not, because it lets them do things like that. I'm still going to go back because I had one other thought, but we'll get to it here coming up. Beefy is the guard, Ankrum, we brought in for depth. Do you think that he's battling for a starting spot with Caliendo and Kingsley? I do not think he's a starter prospect myself. Do you?
No, this is just a camp body. I would be surprised if he even makes the practice squad. He most likely just gets cut.
That was my reaction initially as well. Let's see. You never know. Like, schemes do change players per prospects. So maybe we'll see what happens. Thanks, Beefy. Brad, so how do you feel about the Chiefs roster is right now comparing the AFC conference foes at the moment?
Yeah.
And when you say conference foes, I immediately go to the Bills. Am I wrong to do that?
No, I mean, I think that's what we've seen is they play the Bills every year in the postseason. So that's what you're looking at. You want to see how they stack up. I still think that their roster is better than Buffalo. By and large, I think that their offense consistently scores on that defense no matter what. And it doesn't matter what they do. It feels like the Bills defense schematically matches up poorly against the Chiefs offense. So I'm not that worried about that side of the football. Offensively, it's Josh Allen. I don't care about them running the football. As Steve Spagnuolo has also shown you, he doesn't care because eventually it comes down to Josh Allen. If you can stop him every now and then, you're going to beat them at the end of the day. So I think in the AFC West, I think the Raiders got marginally better. Broncos, as well as the Chargers, got better this offseason. And I think that the Chiefs, I don't think that they got worse. I would say we have a lot of optimism about the roster, but there are some natural inherent risks in what they are doing structurally, with basically leaving defensive tackle untouched. That's outside of Omar Norman-Lott. You have the same type of defensive end on your roster. You're consistently bringing the same kind of guys in. And then corner, I think, got better. Absolutely got better. So there's going to be some give and take with their roster. I do think it's a plus. Again, had a good draft, some decent free agents that they brought in. So I think overall, some of the pluses will outweigh some of the losses that they had.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. If you look here, a couple of newer players, a couple of ex-Chargers, right, onto this roster, and Josh Palmer. He's made some plays against the Chiefs. Joey Bosa, obviously. We'll see how much he actually plays, because he's a little bit out of character for the Russo and the Epinesa and the length that they usually like, which they got in Landon Jackson, but we'll see. They're also going to have a new starter supposedly here on defense on the outside in Maxwell Harrison, who I think should be a nickel, but that's just me. That's all right. Maybe they feel that they're squared away. Those matchups don't scare me as much. So sorry if we just singled out one team, but we'll be going through, especially the AFC West changes here as we go through as well, Brad. Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's see here. When are OTAs? I believe they start. Is it the 26th? A week from today? Is that what it is?
I think
I have to look up the details, but Dan is going to check that because he's quicker on the keyboard than I am. So we'll come back to you there, Scrap. Scotty, thank you. Another one of our members. Are they really preparing for this offseason? Or are we hoping yet again that they are really preparing this offseason? I think they're really preparing this offseason. Whatever the option is, I think they're doing it.
I know that we sometimes don't know exactly what they do because it feels like sometimes they don't prepare for some of the games, even though I guarantee you they do. Yes, Scott, they are absolutely preparing for the season. And yes, OTAs start May 27th.
Okay. So a week and a day. There we go. So they should be getting after it. Thank you, Scrap, and thank you, Scott. I only tease because I care. Exactly. Position by position, what do you think the Chiefs' most questionable positions going into the season? Oof. I'll put this back up here just so we can take a bigger look at it too.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the biggest question mark is defense tackle. I mean, I like the flashes of Omar Norman-Lott, but that's what it is. That's what he is. He's a flash. You have Chris Jones. That's pretty much what you got right now. Mike Pennell is a 2-down player. That's all you have. So interested
and he can't play 18 games for you. There's no way he can survive 18 games.
He can't. So there's got to be something more to that. Maybe there's a big step taken by Fabian Levitt that we don't know about, but we don't know, right? Then I would say the left side of the offensive line is the most other questionable position for me right now, because the experience, like, Scott was talking about earlier, like, we don't know. We have no idea. You hope that they can get it together, but at the end of the day, there's no playing experience. There's talent for sure, but you're hoping that they can come in and actually start and then give you real protection, because I think the Chiefs do want to play looser, and the only way to do that is to make sure Patrick is protected. So I would also throw running back in there as well. It's, I'm worried about running back still. I like Brashard Smith, but what are we talking about here with nobody on the roster outside of Carson Steele and Brashard Smith in 2026? So that's concerning.
I was going to go there too. And I think I am officially going to dub the 2025 season all right. That's where I think we got to go.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's fair.
We just got to chill out. It's going to be all right. They're going to stay the same age. And for those of you who know that movie, I'm not going to say the whole thing.
It'd be pretty cool if you were.
I feel we have got a solid wide receiver room, and Jalen Royal popping in red and gold. Yeah, I mean, he looks the part. He looks thicker than he did on film, even to me, just in the candid photos. I threw him on the cover just because it did stand out, but it's about the role. And I think, honestly, I know everybody wants to say that, that he can do the right stuff, but I think the bigger thing for me is that he's going to be standing there watching a lot. And who's he going to be standing next to? Juju. Juju's going to coach him up. Juju's going to tell him where to be and what the angles are and what the little things are that he can do this offense to get his butt onto the field. And I do think that will come. So I think the mentorship is going to be important for Royals myself.
I'm not expecting like a huge year for him in 2025. I think he's going to be a very supplemental receiver and give you spot, blow ups every now and then. But what blow up with like 50, 60 yards. Next year is the year you need to be paying attention. Obviously, we always want to talk about injuries, right? Hopefully none happen, because you don't want him. As much as I love him, I want him to be the 4. I want that for him. I want him to not be thrown into a situation where he has to learn on the fly. And that's not always a bad thing. Like if we're talking about Xavier Worthy versus Jalen Royals, 2 very different schools, 2 very different paths of development. Okay. But those are different things. Okay. Xavier, he should have been thrown in the fire immediately because that's where he performs best. That's where he needs to be. And honestly, he is the guy that needs to be able to do everything. Rasheed Rice has got his role, and Xavier has to be able to do everything. Jalen Royals, the offense at Utah State was not good. It wasn't good. He was one of the only reasons it was good. So you have to manage some expectations from time to time. The tools are all there. We'll get into that on Wednesday. But overall, this is, again, he can do everything that Andy Reid wants. That's why he was drafted, because he can play every single position. That's at the end of the day, he can go out there right now and play X, Y, and Z. Like it doesn't matter. He can do all of those things.
I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. Scotty, how about we get to 150 likes today? That'd be great. Why don't we do that right now? For everybody that's in here, just click that little like.
Click that like.
Beautiful. Mash the rogue thumbs up. I like the hashtag. quick movie trivia, since I'm evidently not going to let go of this film. For those of you who have not seen it, or you're not as old as I am, or that Dan has being nice and act like he is, if you're a Yellowstone fan, you want to see Rip back when he still had red hair and was in his first of 2 movies with Ben Affleck. What's the other one, Dan?
I'm not gonna be able to tell you that one.
Oh, Good Will Hunting. That's all right.
I didn't know he was in Good Will Hunting. I've seen it obviously, but I didn't know Rip was in it. So that's just more. You know,
it's all
right now. Right now, my wife and I are going back into some 2000s comedies that we haven't seen before. Recently, yesterday, we just watched Tropic Thunder for the first time. And yes, I know that's really upsetting for a lot of people because it's been out forever and they love it. But that was funny, at least. I'm very happy about that. White Chicks was one of the hardest movies I've ever had to get through. It was so uncomfortably bad that it just felt like I was watching it for Terry Crews, and that was it. And at the end of the day, that's not enough for me to stay into a movie.
I like Terry, but yeah, hey, that's fair. I don't think I've seen either of those since they came out. Honestly, it is what it is. I agree with you, Dan. Don't want the game streams come the Chiefs game doesn't work because I get emotional. I get happy watching at the same watching the game. To agree or disagree? Yeah, that's the hard part. Is like we're fans too. We try not to say that out loud because we try to be analytical first. But
yeah,
holy cow! Like my kids won't watch games with me anymore. Hell, my dogs won't watch games with me anymore. The wife's the only one who can put up with me.
At the end of the day, guys, we're trying to get through the games too, so we're best prepared for you. I love watching the games. Don't get me wrong. I love watching football, but I like being able to do the game, the shows after. Like the post games are like the nice part, right? It's not always the best part because they do lose, but I can get some of that frustration out during the game. By the end, I'll just come sit down while Ryan's waiting for this to get going. We're just like, yeah, that sucked. At the end of it, like we're just kind of like, well, damn.
No bueno. Yeah, post game schedules are tough for me. It would alleviate some of that. I don't know. Well, another day. Sorry, I'm jumping around the list here, folks. So if I'm out of chronological order, my apologies. Do the Chiefs need a more seasoned veteran in the old line room with Tooney gone? I can see where you're coming from, but let's be honest. Juwan's what, year 7? Trey and Creed are year 4, right?
Yeah.
And Juwan's, and I'm sorry, Jalen's the same age as them, obviously not as experienced as them, but it doesn't feel to me like it's lacking a whole lot, especially because whatever level of veteran you could get is not enough player to push any of those guys, I don't think.
No, I think they have a good mix of veteran and youthful talent. And I think that's what you need in today's NFL. And again, Moore was tutored by Trent Williams. It's not like he's this guy that was just a backup. Like he was listening to Trent Williams for 4 years. Like that holds some value.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, I think maybe as much as we give Brett Veach the benefit of the doubt in the draft, maybe we have to give him some benefit of the doubt that he knows what he's talking about. Because I will say this, it's one of two things. Either he's learned more from being with Trent Williams, and we're not giving that enough credit, or Brett Veach is so in love with Trent Williams that he's taking his understudy with a much bigger leap of faith, right?
You might be right about that. Yeah, you might be right.
But Craig, great question, and we'll see. They could always add someone else too. I just don't know that they're going to have to. Jake Holt, nice to see you, buddy. Who's the starting free safety? Right now, it's Brian Cook. The starting strong is going to be Jaden Hicks. But we have to remember, these are the days of Dan Sorensen. Everybody's a Dan Sorensen on this roster. They can play multiple roles. Nobody's like truly one or the other. You know what I mean? If anything, Dan, is there one guy that you think maybe is just one role?
Yeah, Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards is your free safety, period. Like he's not going to come and play in the box. That's not what he does. He is a guy that you give a third of the field to, or you give half of it to, or you give the back end, right? Like that's what you do.
Okay, fair enough. See, I'm counting Chamari still as back to safety, so I'm not even sure Mike Edwards makes the roster.
Oh, he's going. I think he has to. I truly believe he will.
Yeah.
I don't think that they can survive with Mike Edwards not on the roster unless these guys just get faster. Unless Brian Cook takes over and is the guy you can trust, which we haven't seen him to be that. I think he has to be on the roster.
Okay, fair enough. Then in that case, Jay, it could be Edwards, which is scary, but okay. We're going to explore that one coming up, I'm pretty sure. Which of these young wide receivers or running backs can block worth a hoot? That's a good question because the running back can't.
No, I think Jaden Hicks can, Jaden Hicks. Jalen Royals can block decently enough. He's not like a dominant blocker by any stretch, but he's a good blocker. He's not going to just lay off. That's one thing that we know. Even Xavier Worthy would give it his all out there for all the 170 pounds soaking wet that he is. Andy Reid and them won't draft receivers that just can't block. Now that they'll bring in some talented guys like Kadarius Toney who refuse to block, just don't know how. He'll throw his body around at times, but at the end of the day, they don't bring guys into the room that are just physically unable to block and have no interest in blocking. They don't really do that. So Royals will be just fine.
Okay. I like the plan. Let's hope that that's the way that it comes down. The old paths, I like that. And I like the avatar as well. Thanks for the support. Number 13 to safety is better for him. That's Najee Johnson. What undrafted players do you like? I do think that safety is a natural position for Najee. I think close contact is really not worked out to be his thing. I think he had potential. They tried it. It didn't work. You're right. He could play a space role. I just don't know if he's got the wheels and the instinct to play at the back of the defense, especially single, maybe split high, but I don't know. It's a different world when you've been up close to the line of scrimmage and now you got to read quarterbacks from 15 yards deep.
The instincts aren't there. They aren't there in zone coverage. Like he doesn't have them. He just doesn't have them. So I just don't think he's going to be playing very much that aren't special teams this year. I think Najee is just what he is. He's a role player, and that's fine. You need role players. You need special teams players to run your roster. And at the end of the day, special teams have been proven to win football games from time to time. Just look at the Chiefs last year and some of those crazy wins that they had. Special teams made a difference. So undrafted players, really, it's Jake Bringstool and Issa Pole. Like those are the two guys that I know that I like. Badger has upside. I don't know he makes the roster because again I think it's going to be too competitive at wide receiver. But you like him as a practice squad guy that has the tools to play more. Maybe next year again where you don't have all the wide receivers that you have right now. Maybe he's someone that can stick and maybe earn a special teams role even this year. Maybe he beats out someone. I don't think that's likely, but I do think that there's a path for him in the next 2 years to make this roster.
Yeah, I like where you're coming from. I would say Brendan Stool's the big favorite. Pole, Badger, I would throw Izzard in there. And I don't know, maybe Melvin Smith can do something. I don't know. I go back and forth. So I need to see current film on him, meaning OTAs and actual practice in the pros before I can really get there. But we'll see. Thank you, old pastor. I appreciate the support. Ryan, I'm getting a lot of backlash from Broncos fans, and because I'm a Chiefs fan, obviously. And I said we are still the kings of the AFC West. Go Chiefs. You definitely are still the king of the AFC West, and that ain't going to change. The Broncos might be the runner-up. I think they might surpass the Chargers this year, but you're still the king. Don't let them forget either, buddy.
They did last year. Like I thought they were better last year. I thought they were better than the Chargers last year, even though they both made the playoffs. And I also wouldn't be shocked if they both made it again. Just how I see it.
Agreed. The only thing that I'm certain of is the Raiders are going home early. Do you think we will get another season of vanilla offense through the regular season? I hope not. Swag, bro, I'm just going to tell you. I've been telling myself this already. Get used to it because I'm the one that was bitching so much last year, and I just have to get over it. Andy's not going to give me what I want until December at the earliest, most likely January.
Yeah, it's just this is what it is, guys. Get used to it. Honestly, the simple fact of the matter is that it works for them. It works for them. They have a method. I know it's madness. We hate it, and sometimes you just want to throw something. Here's what you should do. You get one of those foam, those foam stress balls, and then you get a beach ball next to you. So you clench the stress ball when you're starting to get frustrated, and when you need something to throw, take that beach ball and throw it at the wall. That way you don't hurt anything, and you can just keep doing that all game long.
Not the TV, not an Andy.
No,
at
the wall. The wall.
Chris, Dan, are you still moving this year, and are you staying in the KC area for another year?
Unfortunately, this will be my last. This last season was my last one covering the Chiefs in the KC area. I move at the end of July to the Ohio area, and you know what? It sucks because not only am I going to be further away from training camp and the games, we are going to be in the Eastern time zone and staying up even later to do the post games and everything, even just for the games to start. So I am not looking forward to that.
Shite. Games aren't going to, well, you don't have to worry about early games very often, buddy.
Yeah, no. No.
PM to go. I just wanted to let y'all know that you give me something to look forward to on Mondays, which I thought was impossible. Keep it up, guys. Well, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And honestly, we look forward to this too. It's a good time to hang out and actually just talk ball and a lot of different things that can go on.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you. Do you guys agree from Brad that Ashton Jeanty is a little overrated where he was drafted in national media, overhyping him, and the Raiders there nowhere near threatening the Chiefs? I mean, he's gonna have some big plays against the Chiefs. I guarantee you he's gonna bust a couple because he is good. But I don't think any running back is worth a top 10 pick, period, ever. There's no second coming of Barry Sanders out there.
So I will say Ashton Jeanty made a lot of bad tackling teams look even worse. He also made Penn State look pretty bad in terms of tackling. But one thing that we know about the Chiefs defense is they are one of the best at tackling. Okay. I think that's the only source for explosives is missed tackles and breaking tackles for Ashton Jeanty. I think he's kind of a limited running back. Between the tackles and breaking tackles, he'll be good. I think if you get him behind the line of scrimmage, he's done. He needs momentum for the most part to actually create those explosives. Maybe I'm crazy. We'll find out in the NFL. I think it's going to be a jump, a little bit of a shock to him initially, but he'll get his feet. He's a good player. I wouldn't have drafted him in the top 10. I wouldn't have drafted him in the top 15. Probably near the 20-25 area if I'm a team that all I need
is a hero.
All I need is a running back. Okay. If that's
right.
it.
Right.
That's it. And all I need to do is just drop him into the offense and we're good to go. Okay, we'll do it. But that's the Raiders are just like so many more things that they needed. So many more.
Yeah. He's like those fat chunks of salt that you just put on top for the last finish. I'm with you. Wanted to jump to Gary. Ryan, is your wife a Donkeys fan? Yes, my wife is a Broncos fan, but she's also a Mahomes fan. So she cheers for Mahomes when we play, and she still wears blue and orange when we play the Broncos. But other than that, she's pretty much in a Chiefs jersey most of the time. So take what you will.
Go.
And don't throw stuff at me, lady. That's the way she works. She'll sneak up on you. You got to watch out for her. How do you feel about the Chiefs schedule and all the night primetime games? Does this hurt or help us? I don't think the primetime actually hurts anything, to tell you the truth. And I'll let me share this with you guys. We'll put it back up here real quick. Except I only shared one tab, so I'm going to have to fix that.
Okay.
You know me. I'm going to screw it up one way or the other. Just wait. It's perfectly fine. In fact, we're going to have to go over here, I think, because we need it that size. Okay. So it's not the night games that I find bothersome. What I don't like is, where is it? It's these ones where you go from playing the Commanders, who I think are going to be an improved team. I like Dan Quinn, and I think he's doing a good job in there. And they actually improved. They got Laramie Tunsil. They got Deebo Samuel. Two guys the Chiefs have had a little bit of trouble dealing with in the past. And then you got to turn around 4 days later and play the Bills. That's what I can't stand. It's the 23rd to 27th. It's just the Colts the first time, but then you got to go to Dallas. And I don't think Dallas is going to put up a huge fight, and then the 21st to the 25th in December. There's like 4 4-day turnarounds in this schedule. That's what I think is the biggest concern.
Yeah, I think at least we saw last year that the Chiefs found a way to adapt to the 3 games in 10 days situation that they had, which was one of the worst, which is one of the worst scheduling disasters in the NFL. That wasn't just the Chiefs that did it. A couple of teams did it at 10 or 11 days. That's inexcusable, and it should never happen ever, especially because you are all about player safety. Yeah, come at me. We know what the real thing is. You guys only care about money, and you don't care about player safety. So it's all about that. Also, we're gonna get to it here, but the tush push stuff, not about player safety. Packers just can't stand it. But overall, I don't care so much about the night primetime games. You love being on primetime. The Chiefs love being on primetime. The NFL, everyone that says that they hate the Chiefs, you're watching them. You're watching them every day, every damn game, damn game. And guess what? You're hate. Even if you're hate watching, you are giving your money, your attention to the team that you say that you hate, that you'll never watch. But as soon as they're on prime time, you are like putting it on. Lose. That's what you're doing. It's
Apple, State Farm, Amazon, Best Buy. They're all getting your money because you're watching that game.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Decimus. Thanks, Perry. As we look forward, if you are Veach, if you're Veach, how are you getting more picks to extend the dynasty? How would you approach the next 2 to 3 years in draft? I feel like the D-line is an obvious choice. Obvious injuries and dictates move. You're absolutely right, Perry. That would be something like that. But if you're looking for like the silver bullet, like Tyreek was, I don't know that you have it. They can't afford to move on from Chris Jones. Defensive tackle is not going to get 5 picks and an additional 1. That just ain't going to happen. So I honestly don't know that you can approach it the same way. I think you have to make smaller deals, and I think you may have to get to the point where you're trading 5th for 6th, or the plethora of interior offensive linemen. Maybe they're going to move one of them for a 5th or a 6th round pick, and then they got to package and go up or something like that. I'm not sure.
At the end of the day, I don't think the Chiefs operate the same way that the Eagles or the Patriots did in terms of trying to acquire more draft capital. I don't think that. I mean, they try at times. Obviously, with the L'Jarius Sneed contract stuff, they moved him and were able to get a pick, or they were able to use that to go up and get Noah Williams. Right? It's about using what capital you already have, maximizing that, but then also when you have the opportunity to say, I want to go, move this player, try to get a pick here, or swap UDFAs, right? How the Chiefs landed Charvarius Ward. It was UDFA offensive lineman for a UDFA corner. It's about finding the players that fit into your scheme. So really the plan for the next 2 to 3 years is doing exactly what they've been doing, identifying scheme fits, but also getting lucky like the draft is. The draft is just, it's luck. And I know you want to have more shots at it and more shots to those specific players, but for the Chiefs that are so, I guess, scheme on offense and scheme on defense specific, they don't, this is going to sound dangerous and stupid, but they don't need as many they don't need as many lottery tickets, quote unquote, to get those, because they've already got a very good system in identifying the players that fit exactly what they're looking for. So they're not all going to hit. They're not going to do that. It's the draft, okay? But would it be nice to acquire some more draft picks to see how they could to operate? Yes, but at the end of the day, you got to get lucky. You just have to get lucky.
Sometimes that is what it comes down to. It is an aspect. There's always going to be that.
I know. It's okay.
Adam, nice to see you. What's happening with L'Jarius Sneed? Well, L'Jarius Sneed is currently trying to get to the point where he can play a full season again. He was not able to do that last year. He's also currently being sued for shooting at somebody in a Kmart or something like that. I'm not sure of the details on that, but yeah, L'Jarius has got things going on that maybe the Chiefs didn't want to be involved in. So that's what I see about him. Kellen, thoughts on the tush push potentially being banned? As Dan said, this is somebody who doesn't want to try to stop it. Now, the Chiefs have not been successful stopping the Eagles version of it, even without Jason Kelce, but they have been successful stopping the Bills version of it. So I feel like one of the reasons that the Chiefs aren't like proposing this is because Like, you know what? We're going to sack up and stop this, and our D-line is going to actually get something done. And I think there are teams around the league that don't want to build their D-line that way and don't want to, have to play that game. They want to concentrate on the flashy, skill positions and things like that. So I think this is very much a sour apples kind of thing going on right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ruffle some NFL teams' feathers real quick.
All right,
because
let me get out of here.
Because they can't stand something that they can't stop, and they want to take it out of the game. So the NFL is starting to do this thing, right, where they're running the football on 3rd and 7, right? You want to know why? So they can get to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 and just do the tush push. Get better. You want to stop it? Just get better. Stop letting teams get to 4th and 1. Stop letting them get to 3rd and 1. Be better. Get after it a little bit better. And when it makes you uncomfortable, work at it. If you don't like the fact that your offense can't do it, practice it. Get in the trenches. Ask other teams how they stop it. Go to teams that have implemented the tush push in college, that have executed it well. Figure it out. Stop being a bunch of babies and trying to get things taken out because, we can't stop the tush push. Just do it.
I love it when I don't have to do the rants. It's so awesome. My kids are telling me get out that I'm get off my lawn dad now because I bitch about stuff like that. It is what it is. Well done, Daniel. Do you see Josh Simmons right tackle or left tackle to start the season? I think he'll be a backup left tackle, if at all out on the field at all. We don't know that he's going to be there come the season
for sure.
And I think honestly, what they choose to do is probably going to be largely based on what Moore actually performs as to where they want to do it. Because I think they do probably have faith in Simmons to be able to play both.
I'm with you.
Non-football questions. How's your guys' golf game? My golf game is getting good. What about you guys? Mine sucks. I have a great driver that I've used twice.
Yeah, I was about to say I just bought my driver and a new putter like 2 months ago. I haven't been able to touch them yet. I legitimately haven't touched them. You Bradley, I'm trying. Like I thought when I quit TDN, I'd have more time. I don't. I still have like no time. So I want to get better, and I found some things. When my wife had her surgery, I went to Topgolf and just messed around a little bit just to see how I could get better at just like tweaking parts of the driver and the irons and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I suck. I haven't been out on a course in a year. And when we're moving to Ohio, my father-in-law wants to go play with me all the time. And I'm just like, that's fine. I'm not even close to being able to be good. Like I can't figure it out. So congrats to you, Bradley, because I know that this game is really, really, really hard. And that's awesome for you.
Yeah, I'm pumped for you too. I am my buddies are all over me. Like some of my dudes are like serious, like too serious, quite honestly, and you know who you idiots are. But like I tried to get serious with them. They've been on me for so much. 3 weeks ago, I think I went out and did the Topgolf thing too, and I didn't even drink anything in an effort to try to get better.
Right.
And it didn't do it. I did not improve one lick that day at all. My camera won't focus. Nothing's working right. So I'm moving on from the golf curse. But thank you, Bradley. I hope you're doing well. Who has the easiest schedule in the AFC West? Thank you, Daryl, for your 45 freaking months.
Woo! 45 months.
Hitting that 4-year mark. And Scotty, thank you for calling him out for it and recognizing we appreciate you both. It still shocks me 4 years for people supporting this channel. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you. The easiest schedule, at least mathematically, is the Raiders because they finished in last place. They're going to do that again. The Broncos are just slightly above them, which I actually expect them to be above the Chargers, but they're not. Broncos are at 15, Chargers at 12. Whereas the Chiefs are up at 4. So now I've seen a different list, and I'm not sure if they calculated it in a different way or one of them had projection in it. But that's just the list that I've seen to this point. So, Daryl, thank you. And thank you for all the support through the years.
Thank you.
And I hope that it continues. We're going to keep doing what you apparently like and what we think everybody needs. So cheers. Crimson, do you see any hope for our pass rush to be a threat this season? At times, it felt like opposing QBs had time to go through all their reads 3 times over. And that is fair. They definitely lost some of their juju, and not to use the wide receiver's name. But pass rush is up and down. It is more volatile than a passing game or a running game is on the offensive side, right? So I do feel like maybe there's a pendulum swing back here, especially if there's some new blood that takes away from what they're trying to do against Chris all the time. But Amenahu's back and should be healthier, right? Mike Dana is still going to be. In fact, I got a piece for you guys on Mike Dana and what he can be, what he needs to do coming tomorrow. So don't miss that. And who knows? Could FAU take a step forward? Can Ashton Gillotte do something as a rookie? It's a big question mark to me. What do you think?
Yeah, they had 2 straight years where they had 50 plus sacks. That doesn't happen very often, and even for the Eagles, who led the league in 2022, and then in 2023 they had a step back. This past year they got back after it. Like it's just so defense is so hard to predict year to year. So I think that they can have a pendulum swing back. The problem is that they will need Charles Omenihu to be fully healthy. They need him to be fully healthy and play all 16 games. That's the only way I see it happening. Otherwise, they don't have anybody else that can win one-on-one consistently enough, quickly enough to help Chris Jones in that regard right now.
I got my eye on one dude. We'll talk about him when the season comes around. We're going to see. We're going to see. Thank you, Crimson. Callie, nice to see you, pal. I don't know what you're doing when you don't have games to go to this year, so or this summer is what I meant. But nice to see you, and thanks for the support. What's up? And coming AFC team, which one do you guys see as a legit threat this season? Who do you have as your top threat to the Chiefs?
The Broncos. I think the Broncos are the best second best team in the AFC West behind the Chiefs, and I think that their defense is very easily the best in the AFC West as well.
Yeah, I think he meant all the AFC though.
Oh, okay. Still the Broncos.
Yeah,
I still think it's the Broncos
over the Bills. Yeah,
I think I think so.
Yeah.
I think that they're more complete specifically. Even though Bo Nix is still Bo Nix, if he can take a step forward in the offense and Sean Payton's offense, they are the most complete team to me to be able to do that. And we saw it last year. They probably should have beat the Chiefs twice. Actually, no, not probably. Should have beaten the Chiefs twice. And I know the last game didn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I still think that the Broncos are unequivocally one of the best teams in the AFC, and that's a high praise. I understand that, even with Bo Nix as their quarterback, but their defense got even better than it was last year. It got even better this offseason. And I think that they can be one of the surprises, but I still think the Chiefs are going to beat them. They have to take them more seriously this year, though. You can't be gutting out 16-13 wins or whatever it is, 17-19 wins or whatever it is. Again, just to be able to, no, it was 17-16, sorry, wins to, you can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah.
Well, and very specifically, I agree with you. But I think the Broncos did one of the smarter things. And they went and drafted a guy that was one of the top cornerback prospects, and the guy that knows Xavier super, super well. 3 seasons he practiced against him. And I think another direct move trying to thwart the Chiefs. So I agree with you with the West. I would still put the Ravens and the Bills ahead of them, but that's just me. We'll see how they come together. I think they have more upside than both of those teams. So that can tell you. Thank you, Callie. Scuba, good to see you. Do you guys think that Brock Purdy got the contract he deserved? I think it's fair for that team. I got to tell you, I don't. I won't go so far as to call him a game manager because everybody has a negative connotation there. But I don't think he lifts his teammates. And I think a guy that's going to get paid like that needs to, if I'm going to pay him.
He did last year. That was the first time he had to. Christian McCaffrey got hurt. The offensive line, it wasn't there. He had Brendan Ayuk got hurt. Like, honestly, he had to do a lot of the heavy lifting last year, but they weren't very good. I think that also tells you what kind of a team they have to be successful. Obviously, it's two sides of the coin, right? It's not just offense, it's defense too. They had a lot of injuries. But the best version of the 49ers is where he's a distributor. Do I think distributors deserve to get that much money? No. But again, you get however much a team is wanting to pay you. Whatever that team is worth, that's what you're going to get. And guess what? Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. He got Mac Jones in essence, just with a better athlete. in the 7th round in the year later.
After
So,
the number 3 pick, but yeah.
That was, not his fault, right? He didn't want Trey Lance. He clearly didn't want Trey Lance. He wanted nothing to do with that guy. And now he's in the UFL. So,
yeah. We'll see. Thank you, Scuba. Mike, Rashard Smith going to be RB1.
All right, Mike.
You better put some money on that because that is the long shot that if it paid off would be like change your life money because I can't see it, bro.
I would love it, but I don't see it either. Maybe not. So see, here's where it is, Mike. You didn't put a year here. You didn't put a year. So you can screen grab that and just be like, I meant 2026.
Right. By 2028, maybe. Let's see what he becomes. It took Tyreek probably, 2 seasons to transfer really back to wide receiver. So maybe. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But I doubt it. Sorry, Mike. Bradley, who's your favorite Chiefs defensive player who was underrated in history? Mine is Kevin Ross. That's a good one to have. Underrated. Mine is probably the guy that people are like, oh, yeah, most of the time when I say his name. But if you think back to when they were really good, it was James Hasty that was leading the charge if it wasn't Derek Thomas. Like he was the dude that like nobody wanted to go in a dark alley with. Like he was going to beat the shit out of you no matter what happened in that game. And I love that concept. He's my guy. What about you?
I mean, maybe it's not necessarily underrated for Chiefs fans, but Dontari Poe is still one of my favorite like all-time defensive players. I love that guy. He wasn't like the greatest player all Chiefs defense, but still, there's something about a guy that can do some what he did at his size, not just doing it in defensive, playing offense too. That I love. Yeah,
hey, that is absolutely fair. He's a unique specimen, that dude. Thanks, Bradley. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up here with Addicted. Thank you guys for all of your comments tonight. Something is bothering me about the Trey Smith contract. I got a bad feeling they will have to go tag him again. What is the expectation if nothing gets done and they have to let him go? That's the hard part. It's 23-6 right now on this year. If they tagged him again, if they still can't reach a contract, it would be an additional 20% on top of that, which comes out to what? Quick math, 3.8? That even close? Shit, I don't know. Okay, let's not do the math right now, but it'd be a lot. Let's just put it that way. A fifth of 20. Yeah, right. So like that becomes difficult to deal with. I think what you would see is it would probably be looking more like a trade than a second year of tagging a guard.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It's hard to know though. You might not be able to get a lot for trading him after this year either. Again, the team would have to be willing to take on the contract extension, which is hard to do for a guard. It's hard to get that. So I think that they might just have to play hardball, and if they don't get that contract this year, he might be looking for a comp pick.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell. Get the goats at the store right now, and check out the store for the new stuff that I'm not advertising yet. It's just for you guys who are actually here with us right now. And you members, go check out the community post because there's something for you in there as well. So hope that you guys dig it. You got Dan coming up on Wednesday with Jalen Royals. You got me tomorrow on the new series, giving it to you straight, in particular on the defensive line this week. So go check that out. Daniel, say hi to your ladies. I hope everybody's doing well and have a nice day.
Yeah, you guys, I'm trying not to die over here. If you've noticed, I've been like itching my eye very sparingly. The allergies are in full effect today. So if you have seasonal allergies, I tip my hat to you and hope you're getting through it. You say hi to the wife and kids too, man. We all just have a great rest of your evening on Monday.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.